Hello. Cyber psychology literature has emphasized personality as key factor in online behavior. For example, introverts might prefer asynchronous communication while extroverts thrive in real-time interactions. But in this week's readings, it talks about including culture as a powerful influence, and I found that interesting. Personally, I've noticed that my online and offline presence diverge in subtle but meaningful ways, but due to cultural expectations. Now, when I'm offline, I tend to be more reserved, especially in professional formal settings. This comes from growing up in a culture that values humility, discretion, indifference into authority. I grew up in a small town in Missouri, so it's kind of like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. You have to be respectful. If you're not respectful, you will definitely hear from the older culture. So, however, online, I feel more freedom to express myself appropriately, of course, whether it's sharing different statuses, engaging in, different, small, fun debates, or even using some humor, which I'm doing that with my, play sisters. But I feel like in digital spaces, it feels less pressure to be anything but yourself, like you can be that, and that shift allows me to be more inside of my assertiveness. Now this experience I feel like aligns with the chapter in the book that talks about the theory of high context versus low context cultures. In contact cultures, much of the communication is explicit, relying on shared norms and nonverbal cues. Offline, I often find myself navigating, a little subtle, but online, where context is stripped away, I adopt a more explicit communication style, something more typical of low context cultures. Now, as far as like it comes to high status cultural dimensions, I put you that name, bear with me, also help explain this shift. His work on individualism versus collectivism suggests that people from collectivist cultures like mine may prioritize group harmony and relational maintenance offline, while online platforms offer a space to explore individual expression without disrupting social cohesion. In fact, research by Vassallo found that users from collectivist cultures were more likely to use social media for maintaining close relationships, whereas those individual cultures used it for self promotion and broader networking. Another layer to consider is the role of anonymity in audience. Offline, our behavior is often shaped by immediate social feedback. Online, especially in anonymous spaces, we can curate to presence more intentionally. This is echoed into the work of Zale and Gasmuck and Martin, who argue that online identity construction is often strategic, shaped by both cultural norms and platform affordances. So, in summary, while personality certainly plays a role in shaping online presence, cultural dynamics often offer a richer, more nuanced understanding. They influence not just how we communicate, but why we choose to present ourselves in certain ways depending on the context, digital or physical.